I don't go high and low on the Cowboys. They're an Adam Sandler film. You know, I kind of know what I'm getting. It's not going to win an Oscar. Some are better than others. Sometimes you're like, uncut gems. That's pretty good. And there are times you watch and you're like, yeah, 8 minutes in, they don't have a storyline. But a movie theater CEO like Sandler greenlit it and they can't make any money. I don't get high. I don't get low. If you're asking Dak to throw 39 times and he doesn't get a great game from the defense and a lot of sacks, and this is what it looks like.
Hello and welcome to the One Star Cowboys podcast. I'm Kevin Turner with Father John Machota, Saad Yousuf, Kent Garrison. And we are coming off that big win over the Browns. Not us. We didn't have anything to do with it, but it was a Cowboys, I don't know, it almost felt like a preseason game, 33-17. We did a little post-game episode. If you didn't catch that, you can go find that on your feed. If you're following us, we hope that you are. Like and subscribe. 33-17, little instant reaction. That should be up on the feed. Saad Yousuf was not unavailable to join us Sunday night after the game, so I'm going to let Saad shoot your shot first. If there's anything that you want to get off your chest about that game on Sunday, fire away and let us have it, man.
No, I mean, I thought the story of the game was the defense. I think that's kind of calling it pretty obvious. So I think for me, the player that stood out the most was DeMarvion Overshown. I thought, it's funny. John and I were in the press box and we're just talking to each other while the game is going on. And we neither one of us could really come up with a great comp for Overshown. It's just like, it's hard to think of a linebacker who's that fast, can hit that well. It just feels like the second Overshown makes contact with a player, that player has no chance of going anywhere. So, I actually talked with DeMarvion about that in the locker room after the game. I was like, dude, like we were talking and I just can't think of someone who is kind of similar. And he said, I threw out the fact that, with John, I was talking, I was like, man, the guy that he kind of most reminds me of is Sean Taylor. And I brought that up to Overshown and he was like, yeah, I used to watch Sean Taylor highlight videos before every game back in college and high school and stuff. So I feel like he's kind of just a strong safety playing linebacker, but he's actually a linebacker, not a converted guy like they had last year. So for me, that was the big one. And then Eric Kendricks, he was phenomenal as well. It's just really wild to see how quickly perceptions can change around here. I mean, before they made all those investments at safety, it was just years and years and years. And then suddenly safety just became something that we knew was taken care of. And overnight, linebacker has become in that way where last year linebacker was such a huge concern. And now, I mean, this isn't even something that necessarily happened after week one. I mean, I did my roster evaluation after 53 man was done. And I said that the strongest position group on this team is linebacker. And that's just so wild to think and say that there are other positions that can compete for that title, but linebacker is definitely up there.
No, I agree 100%. And the ceiling, right there with Overshown is kind of unknown. And, Kendrick's obviously being like the veteran, leader to come in. And then you have I don't know, the threat Kalen Carson, just stepping in and having no drop off, where there have been times in the past where there's a little panic if one guy goes down, who's the next guy? And it's kind of like, hey, we're covered there. We're okay. Again, it's weird because it's one of those games where the Browns had issues, and we knew 90 minutes before the game started when Jack Conklin wasn't going to play that those issues were going to be very much under the microscope. And I didn't feel like it's like, okay, good win. And then there's a part of it that feels a little bit like last year, because last year this team didn't have a lot of close games in the regular season, right? They kind of wiped out a bunch of bad teams. And I don't think the Browns are a bad team. I think the Browns are a bad team right now. I think in week 9, they might be, okay. But that's kind of, it did remind me a lot of last year. And I kind of don't want a year like that again, even though you'd obviously take the 12-5. It's this other thing that we've been beating over the head ad nauseum. What happens in January is what's going to matter. And we're still going to cover all these games and we're going to talk about them. but nothing is going to matter until January. And I can see that happening again this year.
Yeah, but KT, real quick on that. I mean, last year the Cowboys blew the doors off the Giants in week 1, and we all knew that was a Giants team that was destined for the worst. I mean, we're talking about the Browns now like this because of what we saw on Sunday. But going in, I mean, there was a lot of people that picked the Browns to win that game. There was, I mean, this was something that if that game happens at AT&T Stadium, even then maybe you're like, well, like, it's just the Cleveland's supposed to be a hard place to play. And I understand they were without their 2 top tackles, but they were without their 2 top tackles last year too. And that defense was really good last year. And that defense, I mean, people point to the second half, and Dak himself did as well. And so did McCarthy and Schottenheimer. But I think, I think the game does change when all of a sudden 2 minutes into the third quarter, you're up 27-3. I'm not really going to hold the offense terribly accountable for what happens after that in terms of, it just didn't even seem like it was like, to your point, KT, you said it felt like a preseason game at that point. So, the way the offense started, first drive notwithstanding, I thought was incredible. And I thought they did a really good job. The running attack looked solid. We don't need this running attack to go for 150 every night, but just keep the defense honest. And I thought they did a good job with that.
And I think the other part of it is it gives you some stability in believing that this team is going to carry over what they did the last 3 years. And when I say that, I mean the regular season, being a double-digit type win team. Because going into this season, whether it was us talking about it or nationally, you hear, there's a lot of it'll be the Niners or Detroit in the NFC, and then maybe there's a drop off into Dallas and Philadelphia, maybe Green Bay and the Rams. Well, there's just no question that team that was out there on Sunday, even if they don't beat the Browns that badly, let's say the game's a little bit closer, I saw enough in that game to know that, this is going to be, again, one of those top teams in the NFC. And when I say I saw enough, that is obviously the defense was outstanding. The special teams outstanding. I mean, seeing enough, even like knowing that offense is going to only look better than that. Now, the run game, that's something we'll have to see as games go on in that. But that passing game will only be better than that. The longer that, CD's back, the longer that you have games under the belts of Cooper Beebe and Tyler Guyton, dodging a huge bullet with the Jake Ferguson news that isn't some type of a season-ending injury. Brandon Cooks, the rapport he has with Dak is way ahead of where it was last year at this time. And so you see from that game that there are a lot of positives that you should be excited about if you're a Cowboys fan. With that being said, let them beat the Saints, let them beat the Ravens, and then week 4 go to New York and lose to the Giants like they did to the Cardinals, and there will be even more of the whole this is just the exact same thing. What are we even doing here? I don't necessarily think that'll happen, but this was a strong start to the season, and I think we didn't talk about on the show right after the game is there is a scenario where the Dak contract happening right before the game ends up being kind of a distraction. Maybe the team doesn't play as well, and they never look like that throughout that game at all. So again, it'll be decided in January, like we'll be talking about all throughout the season, but it was a strong start to the season. I don't think you should just kind of just dismiss that as like, oh, big deal. That just whatever, who cares? Like that was an impressive win to me.
Yeah, no, I think any road victory like that against a team that is a playoff caliber team feels that way. It's just also like I'm trying to like stay in that balanced place. All right, I always want to stay that way, but like also it's like these guys don't play preseason anymore, so it's just like. But I think the things that really stand out are the new guys on defense making plays that Saad started off saying, or at least guys who we'd never seen on the Cowboys. Do things for you in the regular season, like Overshown. And then the offensive line just remaining stable. And, that was really good too for those guys to get their first start in that environment and play well. Saad, we obviously discussed the Dak contract Sunday night as well. Is there anything you'd like to get off your chest about that?
No, I think, I think the way that it all went down kind of made it a whole kind of sour taste for a lot of people, just the weight and everything. But at the end of the day, I think it was the right move for the Cowboys. I felt like Dak, obviously, I'm sure you guys mentioned this, but Dak could have gotten more. in March if he had waited and if he wanted to. And Dak's not going to be in the top 5 highest paid quarterbacks at the end of his deal or anything like that. Not even close. I mean, KT, you did bring up that guys are locked up for a little while, and I think that's that's fair. I think that's right. But by the end of his 4-year deal, like, he's going to be out of the top 10 probably in highest paid quarterbacks. Maybe not out of the top 10, but he'll be out of the top 5 for sure. And so I think it's just about what time it is to get paid, and I think the onus is even more on Will McClay now to hit on these drafts, because they're gonna have to, with him, CD, and soon Micah taking up, maybe almost half their salary cap.
And there'll be times where, let's say DeMarvion Overshown keeps playing to this way and he's outstanding. And you obviously got Tyler Smith and Tyler Guyton and BB and Kalen Carson and Deron Bland. And there's going to be some tough decisions where they're probably not going to be able to pay a guy or two that you would normally want to. I mean, that's why Tyreek Hill's not in Kansas City. That's all to come. That's part of doing business. If you're going to sign your top 3 guys and pay them like they're going to pay Micah, CD, and Dak, then that's just part of it. You have to keep finding the next guy, and that's not easy to do. But those are issues for down the road. Right now, though, what I'm interested in is so Saad mentioned about, like, he could have got more in the offseason, and tying it in with our last show where Kent brought up we were kind of going back and forth on the percentages of, like, how many Cowboys fans are happy about this and things like that. Dak could have got more in the offseason. No question. March, whatever happens this year, probably got more. I wonder how Cowboys fans will feel, though, about that if this season plays out exactly like the last 4 have. If they will really care if he could have got more. And you know what I'm saying? Like, if he isn't signed and it ends the exact same way, that percentage is even lower of people that are like, all right, yeah, I get it. It's been 9 years. Yeah, he signed it. Oh, the Giants got him. Okay, we've done this for 9 years. Like, it's time to go another direction. That group would have definitely grown. They wouldn't have cared how much if he was the highest paid quarterback or anything. There would be a lot more people. They're like, how many years are we going to do this exact same thing? So, hopefully, we aren't in those hypotheticals at the end of the year. Hopefully that there's a different end to the season. And when I say that, I don't even really necessarily mean it for Cowboys fans listening. I mean, of course, for you guys, I hope so, but I'm talking for us covering the team. When it's the same season every single year like that, it does get pretty boring. And so hopefully there is a little bit different about this season.
I think, like, in week 1, such a time for overreaction and things like that, there was a part of me that was thinking this at 3:00 on Sunday, like before the game started. And I was like, in a way, I kind of wish that this deal didn't get done, just to see the human test study of how people react to Sam Darnold having an amazing day against the Giants. Because we've mentioned that a few times. It's like, hey, the Vikings are a test study of if you let your quarterback go, and their quarterback played terrible, in Atlanta. I mean, Kirk Cousins played terrible in Atlanta. And it just made me go, like, if that deal didn't get done today, what would people be saying? It'd be crossing the minds of a lot of people. Like, oh, you can move on. And just because it's week 1 and we're all just high on football, it's like you're thinking about these things. And I didn't think that. That's a terrible thing for me to think at 3:00 after the deal was done. But it was going through my head because, there are some people in Minnesota going, man, we made the right call here. And it's like, no, you played the Giants. Like, we get to play the Giants twice. We're the lucky ones. I don't know if y'all thought about that.
It's tough, though. That's a tough one with the Minnesota thing, because, I mean, there's still a lot of cards that need to be played there for me to feel one way or the other. I mean, there's nothing that's happened there that makes me feel any different than what would happen if Kirk was there. And I also, for as critical as everybody is of Dak, I mean, if you're a Commanders fan when he was there, or when Kirk was in Minnesota, there was a lot of that same feeling of like, yeah, no, I mean, he's a good quarterback. No, we get that. We also don't think he's going to make this deep playoff run in January, so they change it up. And I don't necessarily think that Sam Darnold will be the one that does it either. But hey, maybe he'll prove me wrong.
Yeah, no doubt.
I don't think JJ McCarthy is any different either, to be honest with you. So throw that one in there as well.
I also don't think Kirk Cousins is near as bad as he was on Sunday. Like, they're just all Everyone just calmed down after week 1. That was exciting, though. That was a lot of fun. When you look at the rest of the division real quick, just to quickly, we saw the Eagles and the Packers on the skating rink in Brazil Friday night. And Eagles definitely looked good. Man, the Giants have got the double whammy, getting smoked by the Vikings and then also putting it out on HBO all summer that they didn't want Saquon, and then Saquon goes and has a night like that. And then Washington was, I thought Daniels was kind of interesting. I had that game kind of going on the other screen, so I didn't watch it very closely. But he was running a lot. I think 16 carries, and obviously the Bucs looked pretty good. But looked like a possible playoff type of team. But if you look at like the NFC East right there, it's like, okay, yeah, we have a chance to clearly be the best team. But that Saquon thing is going to be a problem in Philadelphia.
Yeah, but Saquon
early sample size on that.
Yeah, and also Saquon has had trouble staying healthy throughout his career, and I'm certainly not wishing any injury or anything, but I'm just saying that's the reality of something that you have to watch for is how healthy can he stay. But I thought Philadelphia in general, that game was so hard for me to draw conclusions from because of the field. Like it was it wasn't like one thing here or there. I mean, it was throughout the game consistently. The field was not in a good shape. So I'll hold off on the Eagles stuff, but they're a quality team. We knew this before. I mean, some of us picked them to win the division. So I think they're solid, but Washington is kind of in that sweet spot where you just want Jaden Daniels to look good and you want to lose football games. And I think that's the sweet spot for them right now.
Yeah, this division's the same as it's been for a while. It's Cowboys and Eagles will decide it, and the other two are still a step behind, just like we thought they would be. And honestly, maybe the Giants are even further behind than we thought. They could potentially, when the season's over, be as far behind as where it looks like Carolina's at right now, and that's pretty far down there. But it's crazy because I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying that there haven't been up and down years throughout the years back in 15, 20 years ago, but I can't believe that the Giants have become this franchise because they've always been like their bottom line is usually they're at least solid. To fall to where they are now, being one of the worst teams in the league, and it's been that way. I mean, this is just the last 2 or 3 years. This has been, I feel like, the last 10 years, just having covered as many Cowboys Giants games as I have. Honestly, I think it would be worse if the Cowboys lost to the Giants than the way that they played against the Cardinals last year. That's just how low the Giants have fallen to me. And if Saquon Barkley was to stay healthy and be the piece that like puts the Eagles over the top, like you said, KT, that just makes that look so much worse.
Yeah, it's like you're right about staying healthy, first of all, on Saquon. But there's a part of it in my head that's different because it was a big trade and they're different players, but it's like the Christian McCaffrey factor to the Eagles. And it's like, well, we got Zeke, and Zeke looks better. Zeke, by the way, like from a physical standpoint, just looking at him, he does look like. And then again,
he didn't play in a preseason game or ever get hit in training camp.
That's exactly what he looks like.
It looks like he didn't take a hit in the last 8 months.
The problem is once we get to the halfway point of the season, you start going.
He'll tell you that. You listen to him after the game. He's one of the first. He's always asked is this the best you felt and everything like that. And he's always quick to say yeah, I feel great right now, but these hits add up, and he plays a physical brand of football. So it's tough for me to take a ton from the running game. That's the one area where I'm like, yeah, I still think it's good that they added Dalvin Cook. I think they're going to need a lot of bodies in the running back room to accomplish what they need to. And they're not going to be one of the best running teams in the league, obviously. It just has to be something that is a compliment that you can count on to go with a passing game that I think will be really good. I think the defense is going to be outstanding. I think the passing game is going to be good. I think the special teams are going to be really good. The running game is really the only part where you're just kind of like, we'll see how this holds up, That's
what I was kind of thinking in my head. Like, is what they did the other day and a game that ended up not being competitive. But that in the first half, I guess we had to look at it in a window of the first half there. It kind of was good enough because you didn't just know, well, we're going to pass every time. And that might just be what it is. It just has to be that good. I know we've gotten accustomed to, I guess, wanting a little bit more, but I don't know if you can even expect that. I don't know.
So what do they average? Let's see, 4.1 yards a carry, with CD getting over
And
8 yards a carry on his part of the game. So I mean that
yeah,
was a big part of it as well. I mean,
sure.
Rico Dowdle 8 for 26, Zeke 10 for 40. I mean, it's certainly not, let's just plug in the next running back, whoever wants to walk in off the streets, San Francisco 49ers running game, that's for sure. But I didn't see anything in that game that made me think like, oh, no. This running game's going to be better than we think. It's right on par with kind of what I was expecting.
And also, if you were just talking about any football team and you were told that, you can have everything you want and there's going to be one area of deficiency on the football team, a lot of people would pick, fine, get the running game won't be great. Like, and it's not that it'll be awful, but again, we're not talking about the Cowboys. Would you rather have question marks at tight end, have question marks at receiver, offensive line, defensive tackle, linebacker, safety, corner? Like, no, if you're picking one area in the salary cap era, I mean, it's that's kind of a thing where you have to sometimes make choices. You have maybe the best kicker in the NFL. You have a guy who just returned a punt for a touchdown. Like, if your one area is the running game, and it's not that the running game is just god awful, but it's just like a question mark and not great, I think most people would take that. So that's why, like, I'll also give them a little more grace and kind of see where it all goes. But at the end of the day, like, if you can't check every box on your football team, the running game probably is the one where you're like, fine, we can deal with question marks there.
What is from let's talk injuries real quick. It's obviously Tuesday.
Hold on,
Off
real
day
quick,
for
one
the
more
team.
on the running back.
Oh yeah, please.
So Next Gen Stats just sent out some of their takeaways and that, and take whatever you want with this, but they talked about Ezekiel Elliott, and they said that he had an average day that could have been much bigger in his first game back with the Cowboys. He gained 40 yards and a TD on 10 carries, but posted a minus 17 RYOE, which is tied for the sixth lowest, which means that and then they add that just one out of his 10 carries went for over expected.
Yeah.
What a typical average back would get. Only one of those carries went for more. I will say, though, he was more physical or had more success with his physical running style than I was expecting. But I'm just kind of like, will that continue?
Yeah.
4, 5, 6 weeks from now, And if it doesn't, what's your answer? What's your change up? Is it going to be Rico Dowdle? Is that when you bring Dalvin Cook off the practice squad? I don't know.
It's almost like running backs have turned into like how some of these like veteran starting pitchers are in baseball now.
Yeah.
Like eat some innings at the beginning of the year, and then we might shut you down for a month and then get you back in the mix. I don't know. It's
I mean, I don't know if any of you guys are in fantasy football leagues. I'm not, but I help draft a couple teams, and I pay attention a little bit to it. And you just look at the depth at running back, like for where it used to be in fantasy football till now. I mean, it is such a, I don't know. I mean, if you get Bijan early, go do that. Maybe like a Kenneth Walker, Breece Hall and stuff like that. But I mean, there's such a big drop off to where you're just kind of like, I feel good about my running back room because I got Derrick Henry. And to be honest with you, I think Derrick Henry's workload is going to look pretty similar to what it did in week 1. It's not going to be the Tennessee Titans workload. Like, there's a lot of, and then you have the Niners last night where it's just like, we'll just plug somebody else in and we'll get a bunch of yards. Like, I don't know, man. It's
so Shanahan.
It's tough. It's tough to really, the Shanahan that, just like how his dad could just throw Mike Anderson or Olandis Gary or Tatum Bell back there and they're getting major yards. Like, I don't know. It's very clear that the Cowboys have devalued the running back position significantly. It'll just be interesting to see if it at some point comes back to bite them.
Yeah. Injury updates, again, off day for the team. But you learned a little bit more about Jake Ferguson. How are we looking on the health front?
That's the biggest one. That's the only guy that, left the game, went to the locker room, didn't come back. That's your biggest concern. Also, it's a big concern because he's clearly your best tight end, and it's not close. You clearly want him out there. Also interesting on that was, it just shows you how little we know from watching training camp practices compared to like what they think. Two guys that impact this Jake Ferguson thing that the team feels great about, that I don't know that necessarily we did coming out of training camp. Brevin Spanford, Hunter Lipke at fullback. I mean, you just look at how much Hunter Lipke was out there in that game. Like, and I'm going off of not just watching practices, but what you talk about with people that are out there and stuff like that, because they're not hitting, because it is, just the style that it is, it's hard to really gauge certain aspects of the game off of just training camp and preseason. But you can tell Jake Ferguson being helped to the locker room, Brevin Stanford goes right in the game. Would you have said that after watching the first few weeks of training camp? I wouldn't have, like they clearly have a lot of trust in him. And so we still, Schoonmaker is kind of a question mark, but it seems like they really dodged a bullet with the Jake Ferguson thing, because it doesn't sound like he's going to be missing significant time week to week. There's a chance he could play this week. I would bet that he doesn't. I think that they'll give him at least a week to see how he feels next week. But for that to be your only major injury coming out of your first game on a team that doesn't play most guys in the preseason, that whole health department was a huge win for them coming out of that game.
Yeah, I had a conversation with someone yesterday, someone with the Cowboys, and when I was asking about Hunter Lipke and just his role and everything, and the point was that he gets cut short just because of his label as a fullback, but they're like, throughout the entire training camp, it was one of those things where the Cowboys like to just keep some of their positive developments as low key as possible, just in case they have to make any tough decisions and who they can bring back and things like that. So they didn't want to publicize that very much. But with Lipke, they said that has more tight end things than maybe even prototypical fullback things this year. And so that was something where, when you looked at the depth chart and you thought that, okay, well, these are the tight ends, I don't think any of us really give too much credence to Hunter Lipke. And hey, even Schottenheimer yesterday on the podium said, took a tangent and said how underrated Lipke was and how they feel like he was a steal. That's a sentiment that's really shared. And I think we also kind of scoff a little bit at Lipke sometimes just because of the whole, well, this is McCarthy, John Kuhn, and that's just what it is. But it's a lot more than that. I think it's different than what John Kuhn was. It's not to say that Lipke is going to, blow any doors away or anything like that. But I just think for part of what this team is looking for, especially how they're trying to approach the run game and everything, I think Lipke's a person that really factors in big time.
And that's another part of it that goes with what we were talking about earlier with Will McClay and them having to continue to draft well. That's the other part of it when you're paying CD and Dak and when they eventually pay Micah. You have to find some guys here or there that are undrafted, like Spanford, like Hunter Lipke, like Marquise Bell, Wanye Thomas. Like you're gonna have to find some of these guys like that. And they have been, across the board comparatively to the rest of the NFL, they have been pretty good at finding undrafted guys. So obviously that's a big part that has to continue. Two players that factor in that greatly, as we mentioned earlier, Brandon Aubrey, Kavontae Turpin. So
yeah, how about that? Yeah, that's it too. Going back to, even all the way back to the run game, like CeeDee Lamb got some carries. Turpin will, snag a few carries here and there on offense too, and have a bit of a role. He had a big drop over the middle, first quarter. Clearly made up for that easily with the 60-yard punt return, and but a lot to feel good about overall. And I would have lost a snap count, prop bet on Brevin on Spanford playing more than Schoonmaker on offense. Saad's got the snap count breakdown for you over at The Athletic if you want to go check that out if you're listening. And I want to do something here, guys, just to kind of just to branch out a little bit. We will have an episode tomorrow that has our insider from Scoop City over there, Diana Rossini. Yeah, she's going to join us. We'll have a little Saints preview as well and things like that. But I want to do something here, just kind of, you guys are covering the game. I get the benefit of, locking in, staying at home, red zoning out, watching pretty much every NFL game. One NFL week one takeaway. All right. We'll go around the horn here. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first because mine won't interfere with anybody else's. And I know it's a small sample size, and I understand that the Colts lost again. But Anthony Richardson just does some freak show stuff,
dude,
man.
That
doesn't even make sense. Like some of his throws and some of the things he does, he's fun to watch. Don't get me wrong. I don't know that he's going to be. So let me be clear here. Like some of my favorite quarterbacks to watch over the years are really the Matthew Stafford, Jay Cutler type, where there is a lot of YOLO, big arm, wild stuff. I'm not saying it leads to you winning Super Bowls or whatever, but man, Anthony Richardson, like that is just crazy how not just his athleticism, but his arm strength and things that he can do. If they're able to put the right, I guess, offense around him, I mean, I don't know that he's got like, I don't know. There's special traits there that make me understand why teams were so high on him coming out of the draft a year ago.
Oh, dude, that was nuts. And like, there was also a play. There was a couple plays. That game was wild. No one, we're not gonna break down Colts and Texans, but like Alex Pierce Alec Pierce gets open a couple times deep. Speed guy who had almost been forgotten when Richardson got hurt last year. There were two plays that Richardson did not get the ball to Mitchell, the rookie from Texas, too, where he was open deep. I'm like, these guys are going to have some 60, 70, 80-yard touchdown plays just because of that cannon on that dude. That was a fun game to watch. What about you, Saad?
Yeah, I mean, if I go all the way back, I'm just like, I can't believe Xavier Worthy is on the Kansas City Chiefs. Like, it's just so unfair. It makes no sense for that team to get to have that guy with that quarterback and everything. It's just, I know that was on Thursday, but there's that. And then if I'm sticking to Sunday, it's another wide receiver. I just had a deeper appreciation for Mike Evans. Like, when you talk about some of the most underrated receivers of all time, I think Mike Evans might be up there number one for me. Like, there's nobody who gets less pub, I think, and he plays in Tampa. He's played with a hodgepodge of quarterbacks and things like that. But you look at the type of plays that he makes on a week in, week out basis. We all know that crazy stat about 1,000 yards receiving every year and all that stuff. But it's just the day-to-day, the play-by-play that he does. He is so underrated. Because you talk about a guy like Larry Fitzgerald, for example, and like he gets a lot of love. Like, people know that he played in a terrible situation and he gets a lot of love. Just feel like you don't hear that much about Mike Evans, and he is just so good every week.
No, he's absolutely. And like, I was listening to our friends over on, I don't know. I was listening to something. So I don't know where this audio surfaced from, but it was a clip of audio from a Cleveland Browns call-in show on radio. And the caller calls in the radio host, and he compares the QB ratings of Baker Mayfield and Deshaun Watson. And I just thought that was so good on that day as they're freaking out in Cleveland now about their situation.
I saw that on Instagram. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And there's another story out about Deshaun Watson now that's a lawsuit. And, there's that they're dealing with. Meanwhile, Baker Mayfield is living his best life in Tampa Bay, if that's possible to live a best life in Tampa Bay. I've never been there. I don't know. John, have you been to Tampa Bay?
No, yeah.
Yeah, it's Super Bowl. It's been there a couple times.
Where was he before that? He was in Cleveland.
Cleveland.
I don't know. Like, what do you think of Cleveland? Yeah. Like, I don't know. Do you think it's great? Do you want to go vacation there?
I've never been.
I don't know. Joe and Noah said it. I always think that every time I go to Cleveland. But anyway, do you remember that at all? Joe and Noah just ripped Cleveland. Like, this is like probably about 10 years ago, 15 years ago, or whatever. And then it like turned into this thing where he kept getting asked about it, and he was just like, I don't know. Do you think Cleveland's great? I don't know what's so great about it. Do you ever want to just go vacation in Cleveland? And so when we were there this past week, and that's all I kept thinking about. I also like when Saad and I were walking to the stadium, we were talking about like, Manziel and Brady Quinn and some of these other guys, and obviously Baker. But it's just like, if you're a Browns fan, you gotta almost feel like we're just not going to find the quarterback. They're just not going to have any success here. Like Brandon Whedon, like, I don't know. They're just
God, I forgot.
They've tried with so many different, drafting Tim Couch when they did, like, and then to sit there and don't get me wrong, given all that guaranteed money to Deshaun Watson, I didn't think that was a great idea. But for a franchise that has needed a quarterback really ever since Bernie Kosar, you kind of understand it. And there's no way anybody thought it would be as bad as it's been for them. Like, if you said Deshaun wasn't going to be Deshaun of the Texans, that's one thing. Never thought he'd be as bad and have as little success, especially they have a pretty good team around him. And that's why I picked the Browns to win that game. I thought that he would do enough. I thought he's going to be solid, whatever. I mean, it was bad, man. The fans, I think they wanted, I wanted Jameis to go in too, but I think the fans did too. I don't think I was alone.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing is like the team is not bad around him. That's something that we've seen with Brown's quarterback in the past. I mean, we're kind of seeing with the Patriots, right? Like, I mean, they don't like Drake May's the best quarterback, but they don't want to put him out there because they're the situation. Which, by the way, you talk about that. How about them upsetting the Bengals? That was freaking crazy. But
hold
I'm talking
on,
about like
yeah.
just the quarterback situation, though. Like, you know, you want to have a good situation, and I feel like Watson's in a pretty decent spot, and he still just can't do anything, and that's just wild to me.
So my NFL Week 1 takeaway that I want to mention here, you were kind of taking me there, Saad, is so there's a amazing pool. There's lots of knockout pools where people lost because the Bengals lost to the Patriots, but there's one big one called the Circa Survivor, and it's got like 14,000 entries in it, and the entry
Great
is
band, by the way. Circus Survive,
yeah, and there's 14,000 people are in it, and it's a $1,000 entry, right? So it's a big $14 million payout.
We should have done this. Why are we finding out this now? Write this down, make a note of it. We're doing it next year.
Well, I'll say outside of the shocking thing that 45 people who entered this contest forgot to go in and make their pick. So there's some money that just didn't get used.
Let's go ahead and throw 45 grand in the pot for nothing.
So let's see. One person chose the Ravens, which is a weird one on week 1, but they probably have FU money and it didn't matter. So they're out. Let's see. It looks like 14 people chose the Packers. So they're out. But that's, not a lot of people in the pool of 14,000. Nearly 5,000 people, a grand total of 34% of the pool chose the Bengals and are gone. So now
going into the week, I thought that was one of the 3 best picks was to win was the Bengals. I thought, when you look across the board, the NFL does this on purpose. Let's be honest, the whole league is great parity wise, but that first week, if you went down there and you looked at all the spreads of all the games, like there was not any double digit spread. I mean, it was all a lot of good games week 1. And so I don't know. I get why a lot of people pick the Bengals.
No, absolutely. I mean, that's the thing. But the strategy on those types of things is very interesting, of course. Well, if that's the chalk pick, then maybe I'll go. The other game that looked to be up there was the Seahawks and the Broncos. And, even I in my head is like, I got no idea. I don't think Bo Nix is going to be very good, but it wouldn't surprise me if Denver snuck one out over Seattle. But that's just amazing to me. 14,000 people are in this thing, and then all of a sudden 5,000 of them are gone after week 1 because everyone picked the Joe Burrow Bengals.
If I was picking one game for week 1 for myself, it would have been New Orleans over Carolina. Just because I was in.
Sure you would have.
They're just not.
Hindsight's 2020.
Yeah, they're just not trustworthy, the Saints.
Yeah, but the fact that it was in New Orleans and how bad Carolina really is, like, I wouldn't. I think they blew them out pretty good. I don't remember what the final score was, but I would have picked that even ahead of the Bengals Patriots. But Bengals Patriots probably would have been my second on that list. I mean, that would have been after if someone took Panthers Saints game, I would probably pick Bengals over Patriots.
Was it who did Seattle play?
Denver.
I think that one was probably
that was the second one. That was the second one, and that was 3,500 people. 25% of the pool was in on that one, and then 12% of the pool was in on the Bills, which Bills and Cardinals. The Saints was the fourth one, so still a lot. A lot of people were high on the Bears there. Boy, Will Levis has the meme of the week with the interception, and then from his knees, just like he's on the roller coaster, hands up. What have I done? That's what you get for eating mayonnaise all the time, dude.
That could be the meme of the year. I mean, that's pretty special. It's a strong start.
It kind of reminded me a little of Brock Osweiler. I know that was on the sideline, not in the middle of a game or anything like that, but just throw your hands up and like, oh my God, what?
It was a big loser moment right there. But Saad wrote New Orleans Super Bowl halftime show was announced Sunday morning as well. Right in between Tyreek getting arrested and then Dak's contract, the NFL's like, oh
detained.
Yeah, Kendrick Lamar detained. Yeah, detained.
Man, I'll tell you what. I think that Kendrick news came right about the same time as Dak.
It was, dude. It was. Trust me, as I was frantically scrambling to put in my hundreds of DraftKings lineups because I have a problem. I was like, oh, this is not good time for this. I got to figure out what tight end I'm going to go with today. So Kendrick Lamar, there's your Super Bowl halftime show. None of us get a point as our halftime guesses were John Lil Wayne, Saad Dua Lipa, Kent NSYNC, and I went with Miley Cyrus, but it was Kendrick Lamar. Should be a good one. Worthy, absolutely.
John could still win on a technicality if he brings out Lil Wayne.
Yep.
I mean, he's got to bring out somebody. There's no way that they're doing 15 minutes. They're not doing
definitely
15 minutes.
Going to be a Millie by Lil Wayne. That's going to happen.
There's no way it's just going to be 15 minutes of Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick Lamar was out there in the LA one, wasn't he?
Didn't he was.
Come out like
the
during,
Dr. Dre one, yeah.
I don't think that he, like, obviously he has the hit of all hit songs of probably the year, but does he have enough that you're just like, oh yeah, no, he's just going to do 15 minutes of bangers? I'm fine with it, but I'm talking about a Super Bowl crowd. I just think that there's going to be more than just Kendrick Lamar. There's no way he's going up there doing 15 minutes by himself.
If he brings out anybody else in the hip hop world and not Lil Wayne, I will be not shocked, but that would be kind of crazy to me. Just
Juvenile though.
Yeah. Ooh, that would be a good one.
Well, he's done stuff with SZA, so I think, and she's had a huge record last year.
Juvenile's Tiny
Taylor
Desk.
Swift, Bad Blood.
Bring out Drake.
Kent, I know you've probably seen this, but Juvenile's Tiny Desk performance might be my favorite one
greatness.
of all.
Yeah.
Like, just to hear some of those songs played with actual instruments in the background and backup singers.
That was badass, yeah.
Pretty amazing.
I think
so. Yes, I'm all for Juvenile. That would be great if they brought him.
I think to be a lot of. He's friends with everyone, right? I just imagine if they play Not Like Us, the NFL is going to have to stop him from calling Drake a pedophile in front of the largest audience in the world.
But that's okay. So
like,
the Drake
is that going to happen?
Why the Drake part of it and that success of that song makes me think that they won't bring out Lil Wayne, because Lil Wayne and like Nicki Minaj, they're all close with Drake, So I don't think that they will.
Yeah, it's really
part of that. I think Kendrick's way more for the narrative of hip hop and the history of the game. That's why he got so mad at Drake to start with, was when Drake did AI Tupac on one of his songs or something like that, and he was disrespecting the greats. So it wouldn't surprise. I mean, Kendrick's the kind of guy who would do the Super Bowl and do it all about Drake. He'll just do all the Drake diss tracks all in a row. Like, he's that guy. And I think he could do 15 minutes of just his hits. He's got a lot of bangers.
No, he does, but I'm not talking about okay. I think every one of us on this show are just fine with him doing 15 minutes. But that's not what they're doing for a Super Bowl halftime show. There's got to be dancers. There's got to be all this other stuff.
There will be dancers. There will be stuff, but
yeah,
I think it could just be Kendrick Lamar songs. Aside from, here's Lil Wayne. Let's pay respect to New Orleans hip hop for a few seconds, and then back to Kendrick Lamar.
It's
the Weeknd a few years ago. That was all the Weeknd.
Boy, hey, the Weeknd dropped a new song today, and it's great. It's also
that's a good point, Ken. I didn't think about the Weeknd like that. Yeah,
who is friends with Jay-Z? Okay, that's just keep that in your head. If it's anyone that's ever crossed Jay-Z, they're out. All right, because that's.
I don't think they're going to bring out Kanye West.
I'm just kidding.
I don't think that would be a good play. It's not 2007 anymore.
Gosh,
man,
it's not. I mean, Kanye had a run till probably 2017, 18.
Yeah, I think people were off the bandwagon by early 2010s.
Hold on. We're not going to be critical of Kanye's catalog. Kanye, the person, is the reason he's not doing halftime. Yeah. Kanye's catalog, he can do Super Bowl halftime all day long. No problem about it.
It would be the best.
Yeah.
Real talk. Kanye would be the best halftime show they could get.
He's got a lot to work with.
Predictions. Let's see here. Just checking what I put. We had John Cleveland 21-17. Saad Cowboys 24-20. Kent Cleveland 2017. I took Cowboys 23-17. And in our Discord that we have set up, where I was offering my money straight up, just like Ben Stein, I was offering my money to anyone who would win. And it would have been $50 in this game, but no one predicted 33-17. So we'll try it again next week against the Saints. You predict the score in our Discord server, the first one that puts it in. We cut off the entries right before kickoff, of course. 11:59 a.m. this week, though. You predict the score. Whatever the total score of the game is, if it's 31-30, you would win $61 from my money. So predict the score, get in our Discord. We had an in-game chat going that was a lot of fun.
No, for this week, I'll do the same. So we'll double it. Whatever, we'll make it twice or whatever it is.
Look at that.
Let's get wild here. We have to come back because 33-17 is such a random. 34-17 I can get. 33-17 is just so random.
It is.
So,
yeah. No, it's borderline, it'd be up there. It's not a scoregami by any means, but it's up there.
No.
It's like, that's a pretty rare one. It was wild that we got a scoregami last night on Monday Night Football with the return of Aaron Rodgers. And
well, you know what might have been though? If Aubrey's kick goes in, 36-17.
Was he ever asked about that?
Oh yeah,
McCarthy
about it.
Oh yeah, everybody. McCarthy, Aubrey, Fossil. Yeah.
Why didn't he just take a timeout?
That is a good question. That one, no one really did.
Okay.
No one really did.
Silence.
You know what I wonder what it is on that is that, and this isn't a great reason, but I just really think that they don't want to ice their own kicker. So I think that they let it go the entire time because they're like, no. I trust this group. They'll snap it right when they're supposed to and get it off at the last second. Because it's not like the clock hits zeros, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. There's a snap. It came pretty close to after, didn't it?
Yeah.
Do I remember this correctly?
Yeah, and I think the other thing on that point as well is that I think I think for Aubrey, he's so routine oriented, the way he gets on the field and all that kind of stuff. I mean, we talked about that last year when he missed the extra point about how it was a sudden change score. And so he had to go out there out of nowhere and do that. He talked about after the game, he didn't want to go out too soon because he didn't want to just be standing around there and lose his rhythm. So I think a lot of that, but at the end of the day, it was a Brian Anger led decision to wave it off. Anger was the one that made the decision. And then Fossil just kind of, confirmed it and stuff, but it was Aubrey has no say in it. Anger was the one that said they don't want to attempt it.
And it was late. It was late because they brought in the kicking ball, you're not kicking the same. So they have to change the ball out. And so when they did that, the ref stood over it, I guess, because of player substitution and held the ball so that Trent Sig couldn't snap it. And so that's what led to everything being late enough. And honestly, that game, we didn't really talk about it after the show, but that wasn't a great game for the kickoff of the season for officials. To be honest here, they were not on their A game.
I'm not
even close.
Going to ruin a victory with I'm just saying you have 2 timeouts. Just the head coach could just take a timeout.
You're right.
And in a close game, I'm just saying you have one job. Yeah. Well, you have a lot of jobs actually when you have that job, but just bang one. I don't know. I was sitting there going I get it, and we could be mad at the refs. And I know the Browns had some late guys running on the field, and there's a lot going on. I do agree with the decision to not kick it from 71. As fun as that would have been, there was no need at that point to let them take a chance. Something crazy happening
at AT&T Stadium. They're kicking that.
Yeah, no, and I love it there, but you can kind of tell I don't know.
It is windy in that place. I know a lot of people talk about it, but that was my first time there.
Yeah.
Definitely. You are right on the lake. There is wind in there.
You saw it affect a couple of Dak's throws. I thought the wind caught a couple, but all right. Well, that'll do it. We'll be back again, getting you ready for the Saints. We'll have a 15 to 20 minute exclusive conversation with Diana Rossini from the Scoop City podcast over at The Athletic as well. And then, we'll just kind of keep it going, keep it moving along, in week 2 as we get ready for the Saints. Ken, is there anything else I should hit? I don't know if I want to make sure we promote everything.
Only thing I wanted to ask you guys, before we get too far from it, is what you thought of Tom Brady.
So yeah, John, I wonder if you got a chance to, I know you watch the games when you get back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I thought he was fine. I just, you got to put it into perspective of it's the first time he's really called a game, and there was obviously nerves there. But I've heard him in too many interviews be so much more conversational than he was there. And there is, I mean, just watching the game last night, watching some of the Manning casts, and just the way, like, Belichick's just talking right through, Peyton and Eli. Now, obviously, they're not in the same booth together or whatever, but it's just like there is you have to have a concise way of getting your point across and then ending it so that once the play is going on, that you're not stepping on the play-by-play. There is a rhythm to it. It isn't just you and your buddy sitting there watching TV and whatnot. And so I think that he's just going to keep getting better and better. So that's why I was like, yeah, I didn't expect him to be, great just because it's his first one. And this is another part that factored in with me that I don't know if it does with other people or not, but like, I know people mentioned about him not like sounding really excited and stuff. Well, he's going to have to work on that because you know what? He probably wasn't excited. He's won 7 Super Bowls. He's the best player ever. You think standing in that booth calling a random Browns Cowboys game has got him where he's just, oh, I'm so geeked about this? He'll have to add that in. He'll have to work to it. But it's just like, there's a part of that him going to that stadium is probably got to be a little bit of a letdown coming off of the career this guy's had.
Here's the problem for me. I'm going to take it easy on Tom because you should get a little bit of time to get settled. But I do have some basic things. Number one, when there's a commercial being thrown at me all day about you working so hard to be the best and how you're not going away, and I've been seeing that for 7 hours on Sunday, and then it's time to go, and then you were not operating very quickly. It's like, come on. But I think their big problem, and I've always felt this, and I'm sure he's a nice guy, and I would absolutely not say this to his face, but I don't think Kevin Burkhardt did a great job of leading Tom Brady to the promised land with just a little setup here and a setup there. And I thought it was like, hey, you're supposed to know the rules of this. And we've done 5 practice games. So, it should be good. Dude, like Kevin Burkhardt has got to put him in a place to go. And he needs that direction in these first few weeks. And I think it'll be better next week. I really do.
I really liked when he talked about, like, whether it be Zimmer or Micah after his sack and just talking about things like that, because if anybody else says it, it's interesting, don't get me wrong, but there's just something about Tom Brady and Peyton Manning and like a Bill Belichick when they say it, because you're just like, they've seen so much ball that they're not going to just sit there and just over praise some guy that doesn't deserve the praise that they're getting. And so that part of it, I really appreciated. But I just think that he's just going to get better. And I get the criticism. You're giving the guy whatever, $37-38 million a year. Hey, I totally get it. I wasn't that critical of him because I just think that, hey, it's your first one. And if he's still like this, week 7, 10, 14, that might be a little bit different. But I think the more he does, the better he'll get at that.
I have a problem too with the critique on energy. That was a boring game. So
yeah, true.
He'll be more energetic.
Yeah. I actually think he needs to get used to, it could be a problem. It might not be, but it often is for athletes that get thrown into play-by-play, having a producer in your ear the entire game.
Yeah.
And knowing that you can talk through that and it's not going to be a problem. Because he's got,
there were several times where the play would end and he would say something and you could tell like he's being told something or Burkhardt's being told something and he just kind of stopped talking. It's like, no, you can kind of keep talking until Kevin talks again, But I think Tom Brady is so dedicated to his craft, though, John, that he's the kind of guy who's going to read every single article about his debut. He's going to listen to the podcast talking about what he did wrong. And he's going to, by the Super Bowl, he's going to be pretty dang good at this thing.
For sure. And you made a good point too. I that is interesting. You talk about the producer in your ear because that's not something that you're ever going to experience unless you've ever done that. And it's kind of similar in a way to being a quarterback in the NFL in that, I love the behind the scenes footage that they like the ones that I really have seen recently that I like the most are there's been a lot of these Sean McVay talking to Stafford, they run it until I think it's 15 seconds before, the play clock, they can talk in their ear. And there's times where Stafford is, they're like, I got it. Yep. No, I got it. And he's like turning around, already in the huddle, down on a knee, telling the guys whatever. And he still like puts his hand back over his ear. No, I got it. Like he's trying to wave over to the sideline. Like, no, don't say anymore. Like, I'm good here. And that's a balancing act too. I mean, we talked about this during camp with McCarthy and Dak. Like, some quarterbacks want a lot of stuff, others don't. Like, Dak doesn't want a bunch of like, hey, and be alert of this and blah, 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 and do all this and whatever. And if you're a producer, like, you obviously got to have a rapport with Tom Brady as well, that's never going to be seen or heard or known when you're just watching the TV broadcast.
Peyton Manning would be so good at this job Tom Brady's been hired to do, and I think Tom can get there. I really do. But Peyton, he's done that before, where he's walked through what it's like to tell a coach to shut up, get him here. But also, last night, I don't know if you caught it during the 49ers and Jets game. I watched the Manning cast. I wanted to see Adam Sandler, see how it was working. And
hold up real quick on that. I don't know why, but man, you remind me so much of him. Like,
oh, really?
The way he talks, like, your style of comedy and everything. I was going to tell you that when I was watching that Manning cast. Like, I don't know, there's just something about you that reminds me a lot of
Adam thank Sandler, you. Like, right?
Go on.
Dude, like pre, 2005 Adam Sandler. Yeah, thanks, man. Just kidding. 100% fresh is one of the great stand-up
You just
specials.
seem like the type of guy that just likes to put on some like extra baggy basketball shorts with a polo shirt and just go grab some open run at the local gym.
I know we got to run, but I should say, like, Brandon Ayuk drops this pass and Peyton Manning grills him and goes, "That's why you go to training camp." And it was so good. And he was not holding back. And I guess he didn't have to from his garage in Denver. But it's like just telling a guy, "Hey man, you've got to, if you were getting training camp, it mattered when I played. You signed your deal."
He was pissed. Okay, there's no question. He was pissed about that.
This is 10 seconds. I want to play this real quick, then we're going to go.
Hey, welcome to the broadcast booth. He's Tom Brady, and I'm Kevin Burkhardt, and you're a broadcaster. How about that?
We're here. It's been quite a journey, but I love being your partner.
I'm excited as well.
How do you know you love being his partner? You've only been his partner for 10 seconds.
Yeah, like you spend the entire offseason. Well, what's my line going to be when they throw to me on the first broadcast? That's the line. I love being your partner.
I was like, what is happening?
Even when he talked about Dak's contract, because they asked him that right before the game started, you could tell he had a set things that he was going to say, and it didn't come out as smooth as he probably wanted to, even though he had known that, hey, this is coming up. Dak's going to be a big part of this, talking about this, the contract gets done. But you could just tell just like anybody, there's probably nerves,
Oh, yeah. No, it's hard to get 10 yards. It's even harder to get 20. He repeated that one twice.
Oh, yeah.
You can nail a test broadcast, but in the back of your mind, it's a test broadcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And absolutely. When it's live, when that red light comes on and you're live for real, I'm sure it's a different animal.
And also being a person like him and Tony and Troy, there's always that part of where you are two different people when you're talking publicly. You're not the same person that's going to be the one talking to your buddy, because you're so used to also like saying stuff to like guys on the team. But then once the media comes around and you're talking, you don't sound the exact same way because you're guarded on certain things. And so Tom is probably so used to that too, where it's like, I give the media stuff, but I'm not going to give them too much because I can't. Whereas like with this job, no, you got to come a little bit more over the line with that stuff. You got to give a little bit more behind the scenes because that's what people want to hear. And I ultimately think the more he does it, the more he will be used to doing that. But there's got to be a part of him that's still a little bit guarded when, let's be honest, it's not the same thing as the roast. I don't think he's drinking tequila when he's doing these games, but like at the roast, I thought he was real comfortable, things like that. Like, I think he'll get that way on these broadcasts. I think he's going to be really good. I do.
I think they will. I think he could also use some help from the A-team. Kevin Burkhardt, lead him to greatness. Lead him. He's a rookie. Lead him there.
Bad for Greg Olson, though. I mean,
I did
until him on Falcons Steelers.
I felt bad, and then I went
A-team before. I mean,
I felt bad, and then I went and looked at the 7th verse of the song, and
hey,
it's a tough one, man. We all make mistakes when we're young, I guess. But
I know what you're talking about.
You don't have any rap verses like that out from back when you were in college,
dude? And if I did, it would have been the 2nd or 3rd verse of the song. It would have been verse 7. How did he get pushed down that far?
From 2000 to 2010, there's some cringe stuff, and it's great. YouTube wasn't a thing for a period, or a lot of people wouldn't have careers.
Yeah.
What floor crew were you on at North Texas?
I was on 3rd floor.
Okay.
Yeah, Clark Hall, 3rd floor. And let me tell you, I had 0 friends.
Oh, well.
Thank God I met Ted Emmerich's girlfriend in a math class, and she introduced me to Ted Emmerich. He's like, you can actually go to the radio station and do things. You know that, right? You don't have to sit in your room alone and sad.
I think Ted would be pretty good with Tom Brady. Maybe that'll happen one day.
That's a guy who knows how to do play-by-play.
That is a great
He is
play-by-play
really
guy right there.
He is really good.
And sorry, Kevin
Yep.
Burkhardt. I know your whole family probably listens to our show. I apologize.
Never realized how high-pitched Tom Brady's voice was until he was doing it an entire game.
Yeah, and those
You think
veneers.
it's normal, and then
It's isolated like it is. Same with Romo. I didn't realize how raspy his voice was.
Yeah.
And now it's like, wow, it's raspy.
Well, it was fun. It'll be fun because you're going to get Tom Brady next week. You're going to give him the week after that for Cowboys Ravens too. 3 weeks in a row of Tom.
Yeah.
Enjoy. For Saad, for John, for Kent. I'm Kevin. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, all the places. Please like and subscribe, follow. If you want to give us a 5-star review, we would highly appreciate that. We have a Discord server set up as well on the One Star Cowboys podcast. And we would like to defeat the algorithms together. So if you could share it, post it on social media, things like that, that always helps us. And we're always happy to go back and forth and correspond with you guys. We'll have another episode a little bit later in the week, and then we'll get you ready for the Saints. So for Saad, John, and Ken, I'm Kevin once again. This was the One Star Cowboys podcast. Goodbye, everyone.
I don't go high and low on the Cowboys. They're an Adam Sandler film.